Hey there, it's me, Crystal, and today I am revealing the cover for my book that's coming out in November. But before we do that, I want to talk a little bit about the cover design process for this book. So I worked with the same cover designer this time that I worked with last time because I thought she did a really good job capturing kind of like the vision, the feel that I had for my book. So a lot of cover designers will have you fill out some kind of form so that they can get a feel for like the themes of your book and kind of like the color scheme you're going for, or the color scheme you don't want, or like fonts you like and things like that. This is because no one knows your book better than you do, and they obviously do not have time to read every single book that they design a cover for. So one of my favorite parts of the design process is actually filling out the design forms. This is because I like filling out forms, whether they're online or in person. So one of the things I did differently that I didn't do last time was last time I had basically one concept for my book. I did think of one other concept, but it's kind of like in my head when I was picturing it. I didn't like it as much as I liked the main concept that I had, and so I just kind of went with that. And once I saw it, I couldn't imagine the cover looking anywhere else. And I kind of compared to when you see a movie and there's an actor playing a part, and you think about it later and you're like, I can't imagine any other actor playing that role. That's kind of like what it was for that concept for my first book. And that feeling is also kind of what I was going for this next book. I want to cover that when I looked at it, I thought, I have to have this or I'm going to die. So with my last book, it was probably one of the first stories I had in a while that I didn't make a mock cover for. And I like to make mock covers sometimes and use them as a background on my phone because it's really fun, and every time I look at my phone I think about my story. So going into that process, I kind of didn't really know what I wanted going in, and when I started filling out the design forms and I was kind of thinking about colors that I liked. I write paranormal, and a lot of paranormal books there are a lot of reds. And I like red, and I want to have red on a cover one day, but for that cover, I just really wanted blues and greens. So with the book I have coming out in November, it is winter themed. It is snowing for most of the storyline in the book, and it's cold. And also the title is Winter Siren, and I just really wanted a wintry theme, so I wanted blues again, but also since this is a retelling, I wanted to kind of have this fairy tale feel and this very magical feel because that's kind of how the book feels. And I wanted it to look like my book, but also Winter Siren has such a different feel and style than No Rest for the Wicked has. I call No Rest for the Wicked my typical normal writing style. That's home and that's where I live and I love it there, but then sometimes you're but I kind of want to go on vacation over here in the mountains. So that's kind of what Winter Siren is. It was kind of I got to explore this different world, and also I've been dying to do fairy tale retellings, and I love fairy tales, and I literally have 15 fairy tale anthologies. That's not an exaggeration, and I love them all, and they're all very dear to me. Yeah, so I wanted the cover to be very magical and fairy tale-like and beautiful, but I also wanted it to be a little dark and have a little bit of darkness in it. And of course, I also wanted it to be something that when I put it next to my other book, they look like they're by the same author and they look good together and they complement each other. So for Winter Siren, I actually had 3 concepts that I gave the designer. I gave her a concept with no characters on the cover, and I gave her 2 concepts with a character on the cover, one standing up and one kind of sitting down on the ground. And then she comes back to me with the 2 concepts that she thought would be the most striking and would look the best. And this is kind of where I just kind of stood back and kind of let her drive a little bit, because she does make a lot of covers and she does do a great job. And I feel sometimes with me especially, I can get a little too particular and a little too stuck on stuff, and so I was if she thinks these 2 are the best out of the 3, then we'll go with those 2 for concepts. And I also remember watching a video by another writer, and she was talking along the same lines, that she gave her designer some colors and some kind of themes and some ideas, and then she kind of just sat back and let the designer do her thing, which I think is a good approach to take, especially if you don't really have good taste and you don't really know what makes a good cover. That way you always make sure you get a good cover and you're not too crazy about the process. You're not like hovering over your cover designer. So when she sent the concepts back to me, when I saw the first one, I immediately was like, I love it. I have to have that book. Like, I will die if I don't have that cover on my book. And they were both gorgeous. And the other one was beautiful, and she used like a different color scheme, and I loved the color scheme that she used. And we had a couple of different fonts we were using for the title. And also there's kind of like, there's a tagline, and there's also kind of like a subtitle on the book, and so like they were also in different places. And so I immediately wanted the first one, but I did take the day to like really look at both of them just to make sure I wasn't making like any rash decisions or something. But yes, I absolutely loved it. And so with a soundless drum roll, or not so soundless drum roll, hopefully the cover's right here. And if it's not, then hopefully you're looking at it center screen. And I think it's gorgeous. I'm super excited about it. So I will be doing a Goodreads giveaway for the book starting next week. And the Goodreads link is in the description box. And yeah, so I'm super excited. And yeah, that's all for today. And I will see you guys on Monday. Bye.